So, Steph, you're a really experienced appraiser. From the appraiser's point of view, how do you view the PDP?
For me as an appraiser, one of my jobs during the appraisal is to help the doctor formulate a PDP, the personal development plan, which should arise from the discussion between the doctor and the appraiser. And the three words in the personal development plan are important for me, that each goal should be personal to the doctor that's being appraised and not merely a generic goal that is used over and over again in every PDP. Secondly, that the goals should be developmental, that they should be there to help the doctor to move forward and to improve their practice in whatever area of that practice we're discussing. And finally, that it is a plan, that it is something that's desired at the time and aimed for.
That sounds to me as though, from an appraiser's point of view, the plan is owned by the doctor, but the appraiser has a key role in helping the doctor to formulate it in a way that makes it professional and appropriate for the outputs of appraisal.
Yes, absolutely. I think it's important for the doctor to have at least thought prior to the appraisal discussion about some proposed PDP goals that they may want to take forward to the next appraisal. But often in my experience, those do change as a result of the context of the appraisal discussion. And I think it's part of the appraiser's role towards the end of the discussion to help the doctor crystallise their thoughts and come up with a PDP that really is reflective and representative of the priorities for that doctor for next year.
So Stuart, what does the PDP mean to you?
The PDP is an element of the appraisal, and it's a tool that we would review to make sure that people, when they're going through their appraisal, are fulfilling the expectations that the GMC have. So the whole point of this is to ensure that the doctor, within the 5-year cycle for revalidation, is covering all the elements of their work practice, and also that they are maintaining an improvement in that process over those 5 years.
So, from the responsible officer's point of view, it's really important that the revalidation element, the demonstration of fitness for practice, is covered, but actually you're very interested in making sure that there's coverage of the whole scope of work, and particularly that there's evidence of reflection. So Nigel, from the point of view of the doctors that you represent, how do you think the PDP is seen at the moment?
I think it varies from person to person. For some, it is a chance to look at work that they're involved in, how they're interested in things. They've got ideas from discussions with their colleagues about how they might wish to develop that over the next year. I think there's a variety of things from personal issues to do with their health and well-being, to do with their scope of clinical practice, and some things to do with leadership, education, or other things they're involved in. I think there is an element among some GPs who see it very much as a tick box exercise. They don't see the relevance or purpose of it, and it becomes a bit of a chore. And that's partly because I think some of them develop areas which they aren't particularly interested in. So I think it's really crucial to make sure that the PDP is owned by the person whose appraisal it is. But I think there's quite a lot we can do to help in looking at things where the appraiser develops some of the thinking about the goals that are wanting to be achieved. I think it would be wrong to go into an appraisal with a blank sheet of paper. I would encourage all GPs to think about areas that they might be interested in, areas that they feel they've got needs to develop in, and those should be an open and frank discussion with the appraisal to develop those, to make sure that the goals that are realistic, that the time spent in delivering them is proportionate to the education time that they're going to devote over the next 12 months.
So actually, you're putting out quite a strong challenge to the doctors out there to think about what they want to include in their own PDP before they even get to the appraisal, knowing that they'll have the chance to explore that with their appraiser.
Yes, I'd also put a challenge to Stuart and the RAs and the appraisers to make sure that this is relevant and owned by the GP that's being appraised, rather than the NHS developing a list of 20 targets that they want to see put in appraisals, and that you have a menu of 20 to choose from.
I think there's a significant element in support of what you're saying there, Nigel, and what we need to do is to make sure that this doesn't become a target-driven process, that the reflection fits in with exactly what Steph said around the personal development.